Good afternoon, sports fans, and welcome to your midday edition of Nick's Picks. I am your host, Nick, the main event Barnes. Today we'll be talking a little NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, as well as college football. But while we dive right off into it, let's talk about the greatness of LeBron James. Can we just appreciate the greatness that we're witnessing from this player in year 17, wrapping up getting his 4th NBA titles, the Lakers' 17th NBA titles? Can we stop all the comparison of comparing Jordan and LeBron and Kobe? I mean, let's understand this. During our time, we've got a chance to witness greatness from each one of these players. So can we just stop the whole comparison thing and just sit back and relish and enjoy this moment that we're living in to be able to see these players be as great as they are in their craft, in their time frame. Now, shouts out to the whole entire Lakers organization. We're going to shift gears now and jump off into Major League Baseball. The Tampa Bay Rays have a definitive lead over the Houston Astros with a 3-0 lead, looking to wrap that series up with a sweep and get to their World Series for the first time. And on the flip side, we have the Atlanta Braves surprisingly with a 2-0 lead over the Dodgers. I still think there's a lot of baseball left to be played in that series, so we're going to see how that pans itself out, and we'll continue to keep track on that over our weekend take of Nick's Picks. Now, as we shift gears, college football is upon us. We've had an interesting weekend. COVID continues to rise its head up. Florida had several cases confirmed that could affect their game against LSU this weekend. And I also believe that with that being said, since though they just played Texas A&M, that Texas A&M may see a little spike in their cases of COVID-19. Hopefully not, God's willing. We'll see how that pans itself out. Now, a couple of huge games this weekend. We have Georgia and Alabama. I think that's going to be a biggie. I like Alabama in that game due to the fact that I think Alabama's offense is just dynamic. Then, of course, Miami's going to take on Pittsburgh, looking to bounce back from that loss to Clemson. Make no mistake about it, Clemson is a really, really good football team. They punished Miami in the trenches, and you were able to see the definitive level of talent between the two just in the trenches if you really watch that game. Now, Clemson is looking to take on an opponent this weekend, but we have another big game, which I think could be a hiccup game, and we're talking about FSU, North Carolina. North Carolina coming off that big win this weekend could be looking over a lowly FSU team, and don't be surprised that FSU come out and shock them. I mean, they did put 26 up against Notre Dame this past weekend. At the end, though, I don't think it's going to be enough to overcome the talent of North Carolina. Now, as we continue to look around the college football landscape, we're talking a little Heisman Trophy watch. And I'm going to tell you right now, Trevor Lawrence has definitely separated himself from the pack when it comes to the Heisman Trophy with his performance against Miami. And don't get me wrong, Travis Etienne could play a factor in it. You could see a day when Miami had 2 guys in the finalist panel. You could see that with Clemson this year. Now, as we continue to dive on into the world of sports, we got to talk about the NFL this past weekend. A couple of huge hiccups. I mean, don't get me wrong, I went 11-3. Pretty happy with the results. Would have liked to win undefeated, but hey, it happens. And I'm going to tell you something. I did not see Las Vegas knocking off Kansas City this past weekend. Shouts out to what John Gruden is doing with that organization. But at the end of the day, I still think Kansas City might be that team to win it all. We'll have our power rankings later on this week in Nick's Picks the Weekend Adventure. Now, as we continue to shift on to what happened in the NFL this past weekend, great game by the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson continues to show you why he arguably right now, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the game. I mean, dreadful first half, and then was able to will his team to victory in the second half, take them down to score to win the game. I mean, it was just huge. DK Metcalf is becoming a playmaker in Seattle. When he was drafted last year, I told a few people that I thought that he could be one of the best receivers to be in the game for a long period of time, and so far he has not proven me wrong. Now, as we continue to look around, the Bills suffered their first loss. I mean, New Orleans was able to get the 2-2, and like I said, Arizona, surprisingly, they continue to win ball games. Kyler Murray, D-Hop, they continue to put it together in Arizona and win ball games. Huge shout out to Romeo Cornell, who got a victory as being the oldest coach in the NFL. So as we continue to dive dive off into it, we're starting to see a little settling of who's who when it comes to the NFL. Now, let me tell you something. My Dolphins is about to be on a 2-game winning streak. That's a little foreshadowing to this weekend. But yeah, my Dolphins, man, don't be surprised, man, that they go on a little winning streak here. So as we continue to look around the league, huge news coming out of the Jets organization. They let go Le'Veon Bell. I think he's looking for a home. And at the end of the day, don't be surprised to see him go back to Pittsburgh. I know they have Connor there. I know they have a couple of other running backs. But Le'Veon Bell was a great fit with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't be surprised to see him land back there again. Now, I'm going to tell you another team I can see Le'Veon landing with, and that's the Indianapolis Colts, who could use a little help in the running game. A back like Le'Veon who's patient, who's able to pick his way through the holes, could be a huge help for Phillip Rivers and that entire Colts organization. And man, look at here. How about that dude, Derrick Henry? Probably the best stiff arm in the game. You see the way he put Josh Norman on his back. Man, Derrick Henry is a monster of a running back. I remember watching him when he was in high school and thinking to myself, he is a man amongst boys. And now you see he's in the NFL and he's with men, and he still looks like a man amongst boys. And I think that's one of the reasons he'll help Carolina get to a divisional title this year and maybe a deep run in the playoffs. So this is Nick's Picks Weekend Adventure. Weekday adventure. We just want to get out there and tell a little bit about what happened over the past weekend, recap some games, and this was things we would be doing moving forward. We will have a weekday show as well as a weekend show, so you get double the trouble of Nick's Picks. And with always, I am your host, Nick the Main Event Barnes, and we are out. God bless, and see you this weekend.